just so completely different. We'd never gotten along together at all. Belle was perfect and organised and quite show-offy because her dad was this multi-millionaire and she'd grown up being given everything she ever wanted, whereas me and my mum were living in a rented apartment above a fish and chip shop where Mum worked 60 hours a week. She smiled as she said it, because just yesterday, while she'd been staying with her mum and stepfather at their glorious villa outside Malaga, they'd jokingly referred to the chip shop years. Sam said dryly, "I can see that it could be awkward." God, tell me about it. Belle had a huge swimming pool in her backyard. The nearest we had to a yard was our window box. Her dad drove a pale blue Bentley Continental. My mum had a rusty, worn-out Fiesta. Belle used to make fun of my clothes, and me and my friends used to make fun of her and her friends. Then one day, my mum sat me down and told me she'd been secretly seeing someone for the last 6 months and things were getting serious. And I was so thrilled for her because for years I'd been longing for her to meet someone nice. I couldn't understand why she hadn't said anything before. Clemency paused, until she told me who it was she'd been seeing, and then I couldn't believe it, nor could Belle, obviously, but for once in her life, she wasn't able to get her own way and make it stop. We both prayed they'd realise they'd made a horrible mistake and break up so that everything could go back to normal. But it just didn't happen because they were properly in love. The next thing we knew, they'd announced that they were getting married. Is this boring? He looked startled. What? No. Okay, just needed to check. After last time, she was wary. I bored you before. Don't want to do it again. Sam shook his head. Seriously, that wasn't you. It was me. Now I'm enthralled. Gripped. He gestured with his left hand. Please continue. You can't stop now. His voice, beautifully modulated but not off-puttingly posh, was the kind you'd never tire of listening to. Better still, now that he'd stopped being completely dismissive, it was warm and confiding, with a dash of humour. Clemency felt herself falling under his spell. Was he as interested in her as she was in him? It was too soon to tell, but the faint possibility that he might be was sending little zings of anticipation down her spine. Well, everyone at school thought it was hilarious, but Belle and I were mortified. Belle was extra angry because she was convinced my mum was only marrying her dad for his money, which drove me insane because I knew my mum wasn't like that. And once you'd seen the two of them together, it was obvious how happy they were. She shrugged. So that was that. We ended up having to be bridesmaids in matching dresses, which was a laugh. And after the wedding, me and Mum gave up our apartment and moved into their great big house with the swimming pool in the yard and the Bentley in the driveway, not to mention the touchy stepsister who went ballistic whenever I borrowed her clothes. Which, let me guess, just made it all the more fun to do. Well, of course it did, because it was such a thrill when I got away with it. Who could resist a challenge like that? And her clothes were so much more expensive than mine, added Clemency, which made it better still. So you were, 16 by then? And both still at school? Weren't the two of you given the same amount of money to buy clothes? Oh, yes, we were. Her dad insisted on that. We got the same allowance, but at that age I was going through a surfing craze, so all my money went to wetsuits, traction pads and board wax. Out of the water, everything I wore came from thrift shops. She grinned, which, of course, meant Belle would rather go out stark naked than wear any of my dreadful clothes. So that was a can't-lose situation for me. Sam said, And did you both slightly enjoy having a go at each other? Ha, he knew. A bit. Sometimes. Me more than her, Clemency admitted. What with us being the interlopers who moved into the house she'd grown up in. You can understand that, I suppose. And it was only for a couple of years, until we both left for university. How about you? Do you live on your own? Okay.